Texas Mean Green offense was tough to stop last year. They led the American in total passing yards and passing yards per game. This season, they'll look to do more of the same, but with a different quarterback. The Mean Green did struggle a little bit defensively, and to hopefully improve, they brought in a new defensive coordinator, Skylar Cassidy. We're back here at the American Football Kickoff. Joining us now is the head coach of the Mean Green, Eric Morris. Coach, welcome.
Thank you. Good to be here.
We're excited to talk about your offense, but we'll start with the defense and the new hire of Skylar Cassidy. What was it about him that made you think this is the right guy for this job?
Yeah, well, to start, he was a GA for us at Texas Tech, so I had a little bit of familiarity with him. His dad was a defensive coordinator at the FBS level for over 30 years, so he grew up around the game. And then really when we started getting into statistically, I mean, he was top 20 in almost every important defensive category. And, you know, one of the big ones was a stop rate. I think he was 8th in the country at a 74% stop rate. I think that bodes really well with this offense and the style that we play. And then I wanted somebody aggressive. We're aggressive on offense, and I wanted to take chances and to be able to put some pressure on opposing offenses. And so I thought he brought all those with him. He'd taken over 2 programs in the state of Texas the last 2 years, and ACU and Sam Houston. They both improved dramatically under his leadership. And so, yeah, he's battle-tested. He knows the state, and he's been around football his whole life.
A lot of people probably thought he would stay in the conference, but go with Casey Killer in the Temple. But you got him to come to North Texas with you, which is a great game. Because I had a Sam Houston game last year. I loved his defense and how aggressive he was.
Yeah, to that point, right, one of the youngest defensive, innovative minds in college football, multiple on defense. What can we expect with him calling the plays schematic-wise at North Texas this year?
Yeah, I think they're extremely aggressive, and so I think they like to take chances. You know, they were 16th in the nation in takeaways last year, which I think is awesome. Anytime we can gain a couple possessions here and there with our explosive offense. And then to that point, too, I mean, offensively, you know, as bad as we've ever been turning the football over. We were explosive. We had a ton of yards, but we got to do a much better job of protecting the football.
And staying with offense, and you talked about turnovers obviously kill you, but the offense moved the ball. But and I want your opinion on it. Red zone scoring probably wasn't where you want it to be as well. Was that because of turnovers or just a combination of things?
I think a combination of things. And two, you know, I look back at the Army game, which our defense played phenomenal against Army last year. And our first 4 drives, we got inside the 10-yard line, and we had 3 points to show for it. And you just can't do that because you don't have that many opportunities against a good team like Army. And so, you know, the last 2 years, we've had 11 games that were 1 score in this conference. And you know, we're only 4-5 or 4-6 in them. And so that's something, some of these tight games, you know, we got to be the difference maker down the stretch and get a stop or a score to put the game away.
Coach, let's talk about the quarterback position. You'll have a new quarterback under center. Drew Metzemaker, amazing story. Like, didn't start in high school, didn't start with you guys, was a walk-on, but played out of his mind in that bowl game. I think he threw for over 390 yards, had a 70-yard touchdown run. I didn't know he had that type of athletic ability in him, Coach. And you also bring in Reese Poffenberger from Miami. Where are you at right now with the quarterback competition, and where would you feel comfortable with choosing a starter heading into the season?
I think when somebody establishes themselves as the clear leader, I mean, going through spring ball, went back and graded it all, and especially the scrimmage situations where you're playing live football, and there's just not a huge differential in them right now. And Drew's a kid that came in, you know, a year ago. At this time, he was a walk-on for us, had no tape even in high school, and somehow moved himself up into the second position by the start of fall last year. And so Reese has a lot of experience. He's started 26 games at Albany. You know, he's been in some really tough FCS playoff games, so he's battle tested. So it's going to be fun to watch this battle play out throughout the course of the next month.
And I did one of those Albany playoff games, so I'm sure Reese is just chomping at the bit to try to get game reps.
Yep.
Your 3rd season already at North Texas. Unbelievable how quick it goes. And the landscape of college football, just with the portal, roster retention, I have in my notes, and it may be different, that's why I'm asking you, 40 new players on the roster? Are we up? Does that sound about right?
That's transfers. I think we have about 60 new players altogether with.
How is that as a head coach? And it's just not you. I mean, everybody's dealing with it. How is that each year kind of turning over a roster like that and getting them to buy into your culture, your process. How tough is that?
Yeah, you just have to take it year by year. I think you have to reset at the beginning of every year and assume that nobody knows nothing about your culture.
Sure.
And so I think you got to rely on your assistant coaches to continue to spread the message, not only in our team meetings, but also in their individual meetings and spending time and building relationships. I think everything's just expedited now.
And how would you assess your team's been able to do that so far with all of those new faces?
Yeah, the cool thing is we get so much summer access now. And so I think, back in the day when I was playing, I wouldn't see Mike Leach for like 5 or 6 months at a time. He'd be at QS, right? And then he walks back in the first day of fall camp. And now, we're able to meet with them during the summers. You're able to go out and do some OTA-style practice things. And so I think just spending more time with them during the course of the summer and having that access to them allows you to build some relationships, some continuity.
Coach, the one thing I really loved calling your games last year was the unique stories some of your players have. We kind of talked earlier about Drew Metzemaker. Let's talk about the backfield. Mackenzie McGill, another guy, former walk-on, and just burst onto the scene, the Wyoming game. And then that Temple game, he was almost unstoppable in that game. Just talk about the development that your program has, not only for players that are on scholarship, but, walk-on players that end up becoming starters for your program.
Yeah, we put a great deal of pride in going and finding walk-ons, and I think it's easier now than ever just because there's fewer scholarship guys that are taken every single year. And so Mackenzie, guy that we love this tape out of East Texas, Mount Vernon, really good player, and we're able to get him to walk on, gave him the reps, and he's a kid that I think has really taken these reps the course of this last year and earned everything that he's gotten. And so I expect him to be a year better.
Oh, yeah.
And so he's a kid that I think will burst onto the national scene this year.
Coach, talk about offense, scoring points. It's exciting, but it doesn't happen without good interior line play, offensive line. Talk about that unit going into the season. How do you feel about them?
Yeah, as deep as we've been up front on the offensive side of the ball, and so it was huge for us to get Gabe Blair back. I mean, a kid that started 37 games for us. He had a torn ACL at the latter end of the 23 season, missed all of 24, be back this year. And so a guy that had a son last year, he's become a father. His kid is Luke. He was telling me on the plane here, he's about to start walking. He's taking 2 and 3 steps and falling down. So it's been fun to watch his maturity, not only as a football player, but he has a different why off the field now, and to watch his intensity. So he'll be the leader of the group. Got a true freshman coming back, Braden Nelson, that started all year at left tackle for us. Signed a couple transfers. Jim Toe, it would be the biggest one that started at right tackle for Kent State that we have. And so we'll have some battles up front to see who wins those jobs.
Nice.
Coach, let's talk about some of your young playmakers. I know Miles Coleman was a guy you were really excited the back half of the season. Looks like he'll step up and have a prominent role in your offense, landing the slides. Just talk about some of these young guys. You talked about young development, kind of like Mackenzie McGill. Another year in the program, where do you expect these guys to be at on the outside for you this year?
Yeah, I think Landon and Miles are definitely our 2 returners that have the most experience and have been out there, got game reps, shown to be explosive in a lot of different ways. But it's important for us to add some depth on the outside. So we got Simeon Evans, who was Sam Houston's #1 receiver last year, 800 yards, 9 or 10 touchdowns. We just had Cam Dorner, who was the Division II All-American. So these guys have all been in meaningful games. They've caught big balls at big times. And so I'm really excited to watch that group kind of come together this year.
Talked about your 3rd season in the American, so now that you've been in a few seasons, just your overall view of the conference, because I just think it's one of the deepest conferences top to bottom in the nation.
Yeah, we talked about the one score thing. I mean, it's like every week's a kind of battle, right? And I think, the unique thing about us this year is we have 7 home games, which is going to be awesome.
Yeah.
But we also play 3 triple option teams. We have Army, Navy, and Rice.
Well, it's good for preparation, probably.
That's right. We've spent a lot of time this summer just going over triple option stuff on the defensive side of the ball. And you need to be prepared, and it's hard to do that in just 1 week. Yeah. And so we'll continue to grind away at that. And I think, getting South Florida at home, UTSA at home, Navy at home, Wazoo comes to us in an early matchup in a non-conference.
Yeah.
So excited about our schedule this year. But yeah, I mean, you don't have time to take weeks off in this conference, that's for sure.
Well, when I was looking at your schedule, it's not only that you have those 3 triple option teams, but I believe in one instance it's like Navy, UAB, and then Rice. I might be saying it incorrectly, but how, when you have them almost back to back with that one in between, do you prepare, just going back and forth?
Yeah, I think you can come back and self-evaluate kind of what was good and what was bad. And I think it'll be interesting for the option teams because I'm sure they usually don't get good film to watch on other triple options running.
Right.
So they'll have good film on how we're trying to defend it. And so we'll have to do a little bit of a chess game, I think, with those matchups.
Yeah, you see it right there. It's Navy, UAB, then Rice. So certainly an exciting last couple of games in the season. But you take that first game, Lamar, right on your schedule. Have you already started looking at that, and how have your guys been responding to the way that you've been preparing for game 1 of the year?
Yeah, so the game plan's almost done for Lamar right now. And
nice.
it's something, we try to do the first 2 opponents if we have enough film on them. So, they have a coordinator that's coming back, coaching staff coming back. Western Michigan, our second game, has a new defensive coordinator. It's a little bit harder. He's never been a coordinator, so we're trying to kind of figure out what they're going to do. We'll put more of an emphasis on the first game that they play this year. And so we've moved on to really, kind of watching Wazoo and a lot of Lamar the last couple weeks in the office.
Coach, what's been your message to your team? We talked about the one-score games, about finishing this year, getting ready for training camp.
Yeah, I think more so than ever. I mean, as this evolves into a business, I mean, we need to start treating this like a business, and so do they. And so I think, all these decisions nowadays, and if they play good at our level, then they're probably going to be compensated it, even if it's not, in the American Conference.
Correct.
And so I think there's a different nugget at the end of the line right now than what there used to be. And so, we have guys from the last couple years that are playing all over the country that played for us. And so, you can also make a lot of money as a collegiate player and then work into the NFL, right?
Correct.
At the end of the day, I think it's 1.5% of college players end up playing in the NFL.
Yeah.
I mean, that's an extremely low number. And so at some point, it's become more of a business, even on our side of things and the way we're approaching it.
Yep.
Well, Coach, we're excited to watch you play, even with that tough schedule at the end of the year. Thank you so much for joining us here at the American Football Kickoff.
Appreciate you guys.
Thanks, Coach.
Now let's send it over to Hannah Brady, who has 2 Mean Green players.
Thanks so much, Maria. I'm joined now alongside offensive lineman Gabe Blair and defensive lineman Fatafehi Vailea, also known as June. Guys, welcome to the Players Desk. Just how has your past 2 days in Charlotte been?
Man, just super humbled and honored to be here, just to be out here representing our team. So I'm just grateful to be in this position right now.
Yeah, very honored and prideful just to represent UNT here.
And then I know you guys got out to hit some baseballs yesterday. We were talking a little bit before this, but you called yourself the swinging Samoan. How was that yesterday?
I didn't get to do my stretches I usually do before I go back. So it kind of went left, but I'm going to be back.
You'll get them next time, though.
I'm going to
you
get
got to
them next
practice.
time. Yeah, I'm going to get them next time.
Well, let's talk a little bit about football. Gabe, I want to start with you. You missed the majority of last season due to injury, but how are you feeling and how was your recovery process like?
The recovery process, it sucked. It was long. It sucked. You're away from the team. You feel like you're not part of the team. But since I've had the whole off season to come back, and my knee feels 100%. I feel better than ever.
I know you entered your name into the transfer portal, but you decided to come back to North Texas. Did you feel like you had unfinished business? What was the decision there?
No, honestly, the decision was just because I've lived in it my whole life and just to stay around family because I have a lot of family, a lot of support, and it's just very nice to have that.
And then, June, you were one of the holdovers from the defensive front coming back this season. Did you still feel like there was still more work to be done for you personally this season?
Of course, there's always room for improvement, and I just believe in everything Coach Morris does for our team, very competitive, very gritty. So, yeah, man, I just super loyal to this team who gave me opportunity when other people didn't.
Let's talk about that grittiness and also on the defensive side with new defensive coordinator Skylar Cassidy coming in from Sam Houston. But what's different about the defense and the way he runs things?
Man, when Coach Cass came in, his whole staff came in and they're all behind him, and they all believe in what they're doing. So that's something I'll get behind every single day of the week. So.
And then, Gabe, for you, looking at the offense, just talk about that quarterback battle, replacing Chandler Morris. Just talk about that and what people can expect this season.
The whole offseason, both the QBs have been working their butt off. Both of them been grinding really hard, throwing the ball. Like, it could be anybody's race right now to play QB on the first game, to be honest.
And then, I mean, we just heard your coach just say 60 new players. I mean, that's a lot of new guys, a lot of new faces, a lot of new talent. But how is this team shaping up to be starting to gel as you head into the fall?
It's actually one of the most closest I've felt to a team in the 5 years I've been here. From the locker room to the field to the weight room, everybody seems, there's a sense of like closeness between us. And we have a culture where, we try to push younger guys to excel, and younger guys can go to older guys, and everybody has their 2 cents in what we do.
Why do you think that is? And Gabe, you can jump in here too. Why do you think the culture is so much different as you prepare for this particular season?
I think that like this team in particular, like more people have been able to buy in. I feel like over the years, like not every like you would see people and like you just like they're not bought in, they're not really trying. But I feel like this team, like people have really tried to buy in and are really trying to like do what we're trying to do and like stay with the culture and build it and stuff.
And then you guys, I mean, you're both seniors, your last year playing for the Mean Green, but what do you feel the impact that you want to make as you enter your final season?
One of my mentors that's been here, Coach Gary, he would like to say, just want to leave the place better than when you came in. So that's something that stuck out to me and is something I'm going with, man. Being here 5 years, this is my home, and I just want to leave it in the best way possible.
Yeah, I mean, it's our last year. I mean, I'm just trying to give literally every little bit of everything I got to just in every aspect of football, off the field, just everything in Denton.
Well, certainly wishing you both the best of luck this year, and we'll be watching you guys as you approach the season. It'll be here before we know it. But guys, thank you so much again for taking the time and spending a few moments here with me at the Players Desk.
Thank you for having us.
Back to you, Maria.